This week marks the beginning of the season of Lent in Christian communities. February 22nd is Ash Wednesday. And as many of you may have experienced, some of you may have not, Ash Wednesday services involve talking about the fact that our humanity is fragile and strong, resilient, but also touched by lament. And that being touched by lament is accompanied by the symbolic touching of foreheads with ashes. So I thought this week we might do some, I don't know, what I would call writing in dust, writing about our humanity. Let me share with you a little bit of a poem, sort of a liturgical piece that I wrote and published in a recent book, The Writing Work of the People. You'll be using a chapter from this book to guide your writing this week. I am the cadence of the soil, eternity, dug up in a spade and sown with ordinary mystery. But don't assume I am magic, or that you are, except when in a distant sun-soaked garden we tango with the departing light, and time's muted colors bend onto our backs, and we carry life across ancient seas to fertilize the future. Remember, you are dust. To dust you shall forever return. The strength, I think, of humanity and the gift, the courage, is that we are mortal. And until we return to dust, God calls us to carry in our bones the light, the hope, the grace of gospel justice and peace. So I invite you to think with me this week. Again, I'm sharing some things from my book. How do we invite worshipers to hear God's story in their stories? What prepares worshipers to embrace their stories as sacred pages in God's still unfolding story? As I reflect on these questions, an unexpected story came to mind, and I found myself linking together the Epiphany story of the Magi's visit to Jesus with the stories of Lent. Now, I think people probably consider it unusual to link the Magi story with the season of Lent. But think about this. What if the Magi were the first of our human community to explore the trailhead of the Lenten journey? Having heard the infants' cries in Bethlehem, their old life maps must have seemed outdated. Still, they were looking into the newborn face of an ancient promise. Visited by God in a dream, the Magi decided to resist Herod's political machinations and go home by another way. What if God's call to those ancient Magi is God's call to us today? And what if we follow the route the Magi took for our Lenten journeys? Of course, if we do choose another way, as the Magi did, the GPS rerouting voice should warn us about the road's hazards. The Magi decided to defy Herod. They went home by another way. They chose a way of protest and political resistance. Irony should not escape us that the Magi's decision foreshadows Mary's and Joseph's Lenten, if you will, escape from Herod's threat, because soon after the Magi visit Jesus, the Holy Family flees to Egypt to escape death. Their journey is not unlike our Lenten journeys. Consider this image. Mary and Joseph with their newborn stumble through the shards of a shattered contemporary nativity snow globe. They escape nostalgic entrapments only to become political refugees, hiding far from home. The question emerges for me again. How do we hold in our liturgies, familiar and strange, ancient and new, home and not yet home? I invite you to reflect with me on that in this week's writing exercise.